test burn here. It's burning in here. Nicely. It's getting hot. You can see here there's some paint already going, and the pipe is starting to get hot there. I can't see any major smoke leaks here. It seems to be pretty functional. It smokes a bit when it's cold, but as soon as it gets hot it starts to draft, and now it's nice and hot. You see there's almost no smoke coming. It's mostly warm air coming out of the stovepipe. So yeah, this seems to work just fine, and it's burning nice in here, nice and hot. I can feel the heat a meter away already, even if I'm outside and it's cold. It warms me up standing about 1 meter away like this without a problem. So yeah, it seems to be a success. But I've noticed that the top of the side cover here, you can see the gap there. It bulged in, not on the front side but on the back side. It bulged in when it got hot. Well, a little update. I'm on my second burn here. I had to go and do some other things, so it actually burnt out. So to be sure, I started it again, and as it seems the hottest area is about here somewhere, as you can see, and the same goes for this side. It's about here in this area. It gets very hot, and also a little bit in this area, but this is a blank sheet, but you can see a little bit of burn here. It's very hot there. So this is the hottest area of the stove. This part is not as hot, and the front cover here is actually, yeah, I can't touch it for a short while in the top part here, but in the lower part here, no problem to hold my hand here up to about halfway like this. But down here it's actually cold, but the sides are super hot, and the top, well, I know it's hard to see, but the top here is also super hot. So yeah, it seems to be working as intended. So I believe we can trust this one now. I will let it burn for half an hour here, and then I will pack it up, and then we can do a test camp with it. See you in a bit. Welcome to my little setup here. I have my tent set up, I have my stove set up with a smokestack, and I'm just about to start to light it. So this will be the first official use of the new stove. Yes, I have burnt it out already, but I have never had it in a tent. So this is the absolute first tent camp with this one. So I have some pre-cut wood here. Try to make a nice little bed down here. for the rest of. It's very cold, I can tell you that. You can probably see here by the steam, both coming from me and already from the stove here, that it's pretty frosty. Starting to take some form in here now. And my propane don't really want to work. It's a bit too cold for the propane. This first light up process is also always a slow one, and you don't have any draft and heat in the pipes. But as soon as you get the draft, then it usually takes off very fast. Still waiting for the heat. As you can see, it's still very cold in here, but I hope it will be getting better in a moment. I'm just starting to feel the heat on my legs here. I like long stovepipes of two reasons. The first reason is that you get the longer stovepipe you have, to a limit of course, you get a better draft in your stove. And the better draft you get less of slippage of gases coming into your tent. They really go up the stovepipe. The other one is prevention for burning the tent. The sparks made down here has to travel all the way up through the pipe, and when you have a good draft, there's plenty of speed, so they will be thrown straight up, because I don't use any chimney caps or anything like that. They only destroy your tents, because when you have a chimney cap, sparks hit the chimney cap and then it starts directly to fall down. Now it shoots up, goes far away up and burns out before it comes down. So, but if you have like a short pipe and a chimney cap, that's a disaster story for your tent, because everything will hit the chimney cap and then it will go down, and it's still red hot, and it will hit your tent, and it will burn your tent. In the worst case, it will burn your tent up. So no short pipes, and no chimney caps, and no spark resistors. For the spark resistors, they clog up your if you burn your stove long enough, they clog up. So I don't like those either, and they also help with sparks actually escaping the spark resistor, and they fall down instead of going up. So that's the reason why I like these stackable stovepipes. But there are these pre-made stovepipes on a roll that you roll out, and then you roll them in the other direction, and you get the stovepipe, and you put some sleeve rings on it. They have a function, them also, but the other thing is that they are pre-length. So but there are some long ones. I have seen some versions that's actually 2.5 meters or something like that, 2.5 or 3 meters maybe, and they are pretty okay. I think I have like 2.5 meters of pipe right now. No, it's 3 meters of pipe right now. So, oh, you can see the glowing here, glowing on the pipe. Now it's nice and hot. It's really doing something there, as it's supposed to. So it's working nice. That's exactly what you're looking for, a little bit of glow in the pipe. That means you have a good heat coming off your stove. And we want this good heat, because this is a big tent. So to keep this hot, we really need some heat coming. I can see on the ground here that the heat radiation is already starting to make it work. It has already started to melt the snow about a meter out on the sides. It's all the way over there, maybe 70-80 centimeters on this side, and maybe 40-50 centimeters on the back side. So it's really radiating heat now. We'll keep heating this, try to get up some warmth in here, and when it's nice and cozy, I will start trying to make my dinner. Yeah, there's gonna be some dinner. So I will try to start my cooking here by cutting myself an onion. Firstly, peeling myself an onion, and then cutting it. I don't have any bigger knives here, so I only have my pocket knife, but that will have to do. Let's do it like this. Like so. stove is working really nice. It's keeping this place really toasty. I don't know the temperature in here, but it's warm. It's very warm. And I have my stove fan here going also, distributing a lot of heat out to the center area here, and it's really nice. It's pointing that way right now because I have my coffee pan here going. As soon as the coffee is done, I will turn it back against me here, so it will blow at me. My super hot coffee here. Oh yeah, this is hot. Really hot. So I probably have to wait a while. But the plan for now is to drink my coffee and sit here and just enjoy the heat from the stove. When I've done that for a while, I will start my cooking. Gonna be a one-pot dinner. Nothing special. It's sausage, rice, stroganoff, you could say. So yeah, without any real spices. I don't have any spices out there, so it will be without. I have tomato paste, I have brock, I have garlic, and that's about it. That will have to do. At least it's food. So I'll be back in a while when I'm ready to start cooking here. So it's just starting here to go. So I need to put my garlic in here. No. Okay, then I think it's good time to start cooking the rest of it. I'm actually gonna start with putting some water in here. Like that. Then I put the brock in. Like that. Just put 2 of them since I don't have any spices. I will use the spices in the brock. So a little bit of extra brock. It's usually enough with 1, but I will use 2 this time, just to get it a little bit more tasty. Now it's going. I'm red all the way up to the first joint. That means that I got good heat going from the stove right now. We can actually add some tomato paste at this point. Like so. Should be enough. Yes, we are now glowing two pipes up. We have the glow up to the second joint. Yes, we have glow at the second point now. So we're really efficient on heat now. I will start to make the last bit of this dish, and the first part is to take a good spoon of Dijon mustard, like that. Now I will add some cream. Here is cream, like that. Now this just has to slow boil for 5 minutes, and then it's ready to eat. And that's it. Easy peasy. So here is my food. Here is my drink. And here is the stove going. You can see the food over there. And in here it's burning nicely. It's actually smoking in a little bit, so I will actually get a better draft here, like that. So, and I have my coffee going there, and I have my fan going over here. And right now it's pretty cozy in here. It's pretty steamy, but I will start eating my food here and enjoy it. And after that, I think it's time for bed because I need to get up pretty early. If I have anything to report until then, I will be back. Otherwise, see you in the morning. Good morning. It's bright and early. Ooh, and it was rather cold here in the morning. I just started the stove, and not just, but it's been on for maybe 25 minutes. I got my coffee going here. I have a couple of buns here warming on the stove, and I'm just getting some heat here. The stove fan just started up a little bit ago here. It's now 4:40 in the morning, and I'm up early because I need to go to work in a couple of hours. So I want to end this camp with a breakfast. Then I have to take everything down, stow it away, and then go to work. Well, the night was okay. It was a bit cold here in the morning because the stove almost died down completely. But there were embers left, so I could start a new fire with them, because my propane bottle is empty now, so I can't use that one. But that's another story. But otherwise, as long as I kept filling the burn chamber with new wood, the stove performed okay. I wouldn't say perfectly, but okay, because I think I have too much air leakage on the back side over there, on the right side from the front seen from the front on the back right, there is a pretty good air gap, and I believe there is air going in that way instead of going in this way, because it's pretty hard to get a really hard going draft due to too much air entering the burn chamber, and it's entering from as I said, from the wrong places, maybe from up under the lid, I don't know, but I believe, because when I look in the dark, I can see light in the back upper corner on the right. I can also see some on the left front upper gap here, and also down on the left corner in the back there is a, and also some here in the front, not the corner, but like in this area on the right side here, there is a gap also of some sort. So there is pretty much air going in from the wrong places to the burn chamber instead of entering through the ventilation in front here, and that makes it a little bit hard to get this even draft. And I can't choke it down either, because even if I close the ventilation here, it still gives enough ventilation around to burn high. So to actually get the stove working a little bit better, I had to open the ventilation in front here to the max, to let as much air in here as possible to get the burn going from the front to the back. So there is some tweaking I have to do. I have to figure out some way to get these air leaks sealed up, I believe. Oh, whoa. I'm getting really hot now. So yeah, but that was the goal for this camp also, not to just camp for because it's fun. It was actually to test the tent, and mainly to test this stove and see if this has the capacity. And it has the capacity, yes, but it's still a little bit it's not running perfectly. So it's hard to say if it's really a good stove for this tent. I need to get these problems fixed, and then try it once more without any leakage to see if it really copes up with being a good tent stove. If I really go crazy and burn it off, then of course it warms this tent to a really warm temperature. But as now in this middle state, it keeps it warm right now. But we also have to remember that this morning it's only about 5, 6 minus something. It was much colder last night. I believe it's like 5 minus Celsius right now. And yes, it copes up. But let's say it gets down to minus 15, minus 20 minus. I have a problem seeing it coping up as it is right now. It's not burning efficient enough to really warm this place up when it's minus 50 degrees. No, not minus 50, minus 15 degrees. So, and that's why I need to tweak it and then test it again to see if the efficiency goes up enough to really give this stove the place it should have in this stove. Otherwise I have to go with my bigger stove, and then I have to abandon this carry in the backpack idea, and that will also mean that this tent will not be a backpacking tent. It has the weight, It has the size. It's the good size, and it's light enough, and this stove works for it. So I really would like it to be that. But if I need to go up in stove size, my bigger stove, my more efficient stove is too heavy to carry with all the other gear you should get. Like, you have to remember, it's not only the stove. You have the stove pipes, you have the tent, you have the tent pole. Well, you can skip the tent pole and make your own tent pole in the woods, but this is an aluminium pole and it weighs almost nothing, so I don't know the gain of doing that. Then you have the tent pegs, you have your food, you have your water, you have your extra clothes, you have maybe your fan. You don't need a fan, but it's really nice to have. Maybe your table, your chair, your bed. The bed is a real weight stealer. It really. Oh, ice. Now they're done. Definitely finished here. Need to come off. Yeah, the bed is stealing a lot of weight. I believe that one is the heaviest item of them all. But I really want a raised bed when I'm hot tenting, because I don't want to feel the cold from the ground. And if you hot tent and lie directly on the ground, you really have to have a good heater, because it takes a lot of heat to warm you, even if you insulate yourself good from the ground. But already if you come up like 30-40 centimeters off the ground, it's a much warmer environment up here than down there. A raised bed is definitely something you should have if you are thinking about hot tenting. It's a bit of work to find your ideal stove and stove size. And actually it's a big deal to find the right tent and stove and size and everything, because not all people like these teepee tents. They are special in their way. And I prefer them. I've used them for about 30 years now. I have used other tents also, but I like the teepee tent for its simplicity. It's a very simple construction type, and it gives you height that you want. It gives you space, and it keeps the weight down, and it just works somehow. And the best thing with it is that the area that gets the hottest in a teepee tent is the area that's easiest to warm up, and that's the top. And that's also the smallest area. The further down you go, the bigger the area gets. But you don't need much heat to heat that area. So the heat presses down much faster in a teepee tent than in a, let's say, leaning roof tent, or flat roof tent, or bowl tent. Or they are efficient. Teepee tents are efficient. A lot of native people use this kind of construction of their tents. Yeah, I like them. I like to use them, and I definitely will keep on using them. Well, I have no more time now. I need to proceed to my work day. So I thank you for being here, watching me doing this. There might be some future camping adventures, not this simple kind. This has just been for testing the stove and tent and things like that. I mean a serious camp out somewhere, I might just film that. I don't know when, I don't know what, but maybe someday. I don't promise anything. But anyway, you are welcome to join me if I do. But this time I'm leaving you with the final sounds from the stove here, crackling. I hope this was interesting enough. I'm now back in my workshop, and I have done my test burn, I have done my camping, and I will now do my final assessment of this stove. As you already know, I found some small problems with it that needs tweaking, and I'm gonna start here in the front. The first thing I need to address on this stove is this hatch cover, this hatch here. It needs to be changed out, and that's due to this ventilation system I built here. It's too complicated, not for use, but it's too complicated because it takes too much space here on the inside here. It doesn't really work for this stove, because the problem here is that this knob here, this riser I built here, is too wide, and it's too wide due to that I had to put the latch hatch here out all the way here to clear this rail here for the ventilation. So now it's moved out, and that means that the knob needs to be out, and that meant that I had to build this riser here, and I had to move it out like this. It needs to be in line here, because what happens when this is out on the outside like this, when you fold the stove down here, it catches this edge here and it won't fold down all the way. So I need to move this latch knob in to its right position, that's about there. So I need to make this riser here so it gets inside of the edge here, and the knob gets inside of the edge here also. And that means I need to make myself a new cover so I can move this latch joint here into about here somewhere. And that's not possible now, because in there we have the latch ventilation, and if I put something here it won't work anymore. So that's not possible to do. So I'm instead gonna do a new hatch just like this one in size, but instead of this kind of ventilation I will do it the same way I did on my last build. I will make a turnable ventilation here, the simple kind that doesn't take any unnecessary space, and I can also put it in the lower part here, that meaning that it's round like that, so it gives more room up here for this latch to be moved in. I don't think that would be a problem anyway, but as I said, the latch will be jointed in here, that meaning that this part of the latch will end up here, and that's where the knob is supposed to be, and the new riser will only go to the edge here, so nothing will stick up. And when you fold the stove down, you just move this down like that, then it's not in the way, and the new knob will be as far in as possible here. So that's the reason why I need to make myself a new hatch. Otherwise this hatch works just fine. I had no problem with it as it is, and the ventilation here also worked just fine, no problem with that. Can move it easily up and down. But talking about ventilation, there is another problem, and I already somehow knew that there would be a problem, but I wanted to test it. And it's these side covers. You can see up here I haven't moved it since I used it. So you can see up here there's a big opening because it's bulged in. The heat bulged it in like that. Not in the front side here, but very much in the back end there. And it lets in a lot of air here. And another place you can see it on the cover here. It's darker here because up here also it bulged in this corner here and let a lot of air in there. And you can also see a color difference down in this section, and that's because this corner also bulged in and let air in that way. So that actually kept this corner cooler, and that's why there is a color difference, because this was hotter and this was cooler due to air rushing in here. That kept that area nice and cool. And up here you see the line here. This corner also had a temperature difference against this area, so that's why it's a different color, and that's due to the air rushing in here. And yeah, you can actually see all the way here there is a temperature, because it's a little bit bulged even here, but very much here, and also down in that corner. So I need to secure my side plates mainly up here, and I said I would put one rivet nut up here and bolt. I won't do that. I will actually put two. I will put one somewhere about here and another somewhere about here. So there will be two, because I have the two fasteners down here. Then I will have 2 points of fasteners up here also. That should keep the lid from bulging as much. It might bulge some, but it won't be a gap where I can put my finger in like I can do now. I can actually put my pinky in behind here, almost to here. Then it gets smaller, and you see the gap there also. It's rather big. So that's actually not that's something I calculated with could happen, and it happened. So the only difference now is that I won't put one securing bolt here, I will put two like that. And I will do the same on this side. Otherwise, the securing bolts in the front and the back, they work perfect. The legs work perfect, and I would say that the hatch worked perfect also, but not really, because this hinge here, it's a little bit too weak. It's a little bit flimsy. You see, when I do that, it moves very much. So, and that's due to the material being a little bit too thin. I will make a new one. When I make my new hatch, I will make it out of the same material as this one, but the hinge here I will make out of 2 millimeter. It's 1 millimeter now. I will make it out of 2 millimeter thin. I will make the exact same construction method as I used on this one, and I will use rivets just as I used on this one, but I will make it 1 millimeter thicker, so it gets a little bit more sturdy. Otherwise, the rivets, you can see when I do this, it really moves a lot. So I will make that a bit more sturdy. That's the only difference to the hinge, that it will get thicker. Then to the last part, it's actually this sleeve here that I made. I made a small error on that one, because I didn't measure my height up here. The height from the top to the top of the hatch opening here. And it's pretty small. If I put this one like this, and then we try to look if you can see, look here, you see that the pipe is going further down than the hatch opening, and that's no good. The pipe should actually be shorter than this measurement here, because what happens is that when you have your stove going and drafting like this, and when you open the hatch like that, you ruin the draft. The draft disappears for a short while, and smoke accumulates here on the inside in the top here, and it wants to go the easiest way it can, and it should be through the stovepipe here. But when the stovepipe is going further down than the edge here, the easiest way for the smoke to go is actually out the front here. So I made that error. I will correct that, and that's easy correct. I will divide this in half and make it half as long. That will make it not reach down to this edge. It will be somewhere in between, and that will give a little bit of a buffer for the smoke to want to go in that direction up the stovepipe instead of coming out this way. Some smoke will always come out here because the smoke that's nearest to the hatch here actually has an easier way to come out here. Even if it's longer way to the stovepipe there, it's easier to just escape this way. But it's just the smoke that's right inside of the hatch here. The rest of it will actually go to the stovepipe and out the stovepipe if it has the correct length. So that's an easy fix. I just shortened this one so it doesn't protrude as much down into the stove. And you can also see, I don't know if you can see, but I will try to raise it up a bit so we can get some light in there, like that. You can actually see how much it goes down into the box. It will be enough like that. That's more than enough. It doesn't need to go further down. Now it's pretty much going too much down into the stove, and that's making this problem that I have occur. But yeah, I think that's covers all the tweaks I need to do. I need a new hatch. I will remake my hinge in a thicker material. I will relocate this hatch latch and the pin so they get in line with the box here, so I can actually fold it all the way down when I'm folding it. I need to secure the sides on 2 points on each side like that, and I need to shorten my sleeve going down in the box, and that's all. I believe when I have done this, it will work perfectly after that. I will still test it before I really take it up for a good camp, but I think that will be the things I need to do to get this up to its max capacity and give all the heat it can. That's all I have for this video. You saw me build it in part 1, you saw me test it in part 2, you saw me camp with it in part 2, and this is the end of part 2. I hope this has been interesting enough, and I really want to thank you for being here, joining me in this stove build, test and camp and everything. And I hope you also take the opportunity to build your own stove instead of buying them. As you have seen here, it's not so complicated. You can do it with some simple tools and a little bit of know-how. You can make your own stove. It's not so hard. And as you have seen here, this is all reused material. Of course, everybody don't have material lying around, but buying a sheet of 1mm tin and a bit of pipe isn't so expensive. Some consumables also, so of course, the rivets and things like that. But it's peanuts compared to buying an already made stove. And all it will cost you after that is your time. The time to build it. And in the end, it's worth it, because it's a good feeling when you're sitting in your tent and the stove works and gives you good heat, knowing that you have built it yourself. That's a nice feeling. With that said, I hope you had a good time watching this, and I hope to see you in the next one. So, from me to you, thank you. And don't forget to subscribe and like. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it really helps out the channel.